All right, we'll begin here in just a second. All right, I'm waiting here. YouTube has begun. Let's go to YouTube. There goes the notification. All right, I can, let's see here, do this. All right, click on. There goes the notification. Got that done. All right. We'll begin here in just a second. All right, we'll begin here in just a second, ladies and gentlemen. I was watching videos from a band concert that someone sent to me. My daughter sent to me. So I'm not paying any attention to what's actually going on here, okay? All right, we'll begin here in just a second. I'm getting all distracted. Sometimes it's funny. I'll be sitting here and I'll mute the mic and I'll be like getting things ready, maybe even talking to myself, doing whatever, taking a drink, whatever, clearing my throat, whatever. And then all of a sudden I'll like, wait a minute, is the mic muted or am I sitting here talking to myself with the mic on? There I'm sitting here playing videos that my daughter is sending me. I'm like, wait, is the mic muted? So yeah. And then I'll forget that I'm even live on the air because I just start doing other things. I'm like, I just get up and walk away and like, oh wait, I started that live stream. So many times I start the live stream before I'm actually anywhere close ready to go. So I was trying to think exactly how I'm going to begin this episode. And yeah, a lot of times I'll kind of have it mapped out. This one I don't even have mapped out, but that's okay. I do know I need this pulled up. Hang on, where is it? I don't think I have it here. Okay, I don't think I have it here. Let me see here. Go to my notes. All right, have that ready to go because I will need that screen pulled up. All right, I think we're good to go. Ladies and gentlemen, this will be quick. This will be to the point because that's I need to try to accomplish that today for this particular thing that we're trying. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, we go live in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1.
Looking at our world from a theological perspective, this is the Theology Central Podcast, making theology central.
Good morning, everyone. And now, before I do my typical introduction, before I really, do that, I want you to do something. Now, for some of you, you're not going to be able to do this, but if you can, I want you to pick up a Bible if you have the opportunity, if you can. If you can't, just imagine you're holding a Bible, and I want you to just think of yourself just kind of, flipping through it, right? Just turning the pages, just looking through the Bible, right? And I want you to think about how many times you've read the Bible, how many times you've studied the Bible, how many times you've heard the Bible preached, how many times you've been in a Sunday school class, small group, church, just all of your interactions with the Word of God, all of the time you've spent studying the Bible and reading the Bible. And I want you to just think about and ask yourself, how much do you think you have missed in all of your time reading and studying the Bible? That you really missed what the text was actually saying. You missed what it was really about. You missed the correct interpretation. How much do you think you have missed? Do you think you've missed a lot? Do you think you've missed a little? And if you think you've missed any at all, why do you think you missed it? Well, what caused you to miss it? Is it possible that we miss so much because we think we know so much? Is it possible that we miss so much in the Bible because we think we know so much? And we just assume that we know it, but in reality, we don't really know as much as we think we do. But because we think we know it, we end up then missing what we don't know because we already assume that we know it. How much have you missed? And you missed it because you think you know. Thinking that you know something could actually be the enemy of knowing. You have to you have to always approach things as if you don't already know, because if you think you already know, I think you then have a tendency to miss. I think it's something to consider. Now, why am I bringing this up? Because I heard that line in a sermon. We miss so much because we think we know so much. And not only did it catch my attention, the sermon itself caught my attention. And I'm going to tell you all about it right after I say good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, October the 7th, 2025. It is currently 9:46 a.m. Central Time. And I'm coming to you live from the Theology Central studio located right here in Abilene, Texas. And this is another episode in our series, The Sermon Audio Daily. Now remember, this series is all about me trying to help you find things to listen to on the Sermon Audio platform, whether the website or the app, trying to kind of be your curator, your guide, helping you with discovery, because thousands upon thousands of sermons are added every week to the Sermon Audio platform. And that means there's a lot of things you're just never going to stumble upon. You're never going to find that you add a message to Sermon Audio, because hundreds and hundreds and hundreds are being added, almost hourly. Well, those sermons get buried. And so I'm trying to dig through the stack of millions of sermons and going, hey, what about this one? Or what about this series? Or what about this broadcast? So we've just started this series. I don't know if it's going to be successful, but it's something, look, I'm not trying to benefit myself here, because I'm not pointing you to my sermons. I'm not pointing you to my podcast, but I just feel like the Sermon Audio platform is invaluable. And I think a lot of people take it for granted, and a lot of the content I'll be scrolling through Sermon Audio and see things have 5 downloads, 6 downloads, 10 downloads. And I'm like, that's insane. Whether I agree or disagree with it, it needs more than 5 or 10 downloads. So that's what I'm trying to do. And so that's what I'm going to do today. And this one's going to be really quick. This is going to be really quick. All right. I was looking through my feed on the Sermon Audio app. That's what I was doing. And when I did, I saw Ambassador Baptist College had uploaded a new message. All right. Well, that's not surprising. Ambassador Baptist College uploads stuff all the time. And I've told you before that in my feed, I try to follow every college, every university, every seminary, every Bible institute. If they're on Sermon Audio, I follow them. Why? Because I want to know what's going on in Bible colleges and seminaries and Bible institutes. What are they teaching the next generation of pastors? And I like keeping up with that, because in many cases you may get some good, content. And not only that, even if I disagree, I'm at least getting an idea of where maybe the church is headed. So I tell everyone to follow all of them. So Ambassador Baptist College is one of the ones. I think I said Bible College. Ambassador Baptist College is one of those that I follow. So something popped up in my feed, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting. But I noticed it was part of a series called Landmark Conference 1997. Oh, now that was interesting, because now we can go back to 1997 and hear what was being preached or taught in 1997. Now, I've put together a playlist of, I think, 3 or 4 sermons from the 1950s that is on Sermon Audio platform. I'll try to do that for coming up for a Sermon Audio Daily episode. I'll give you that playlist of 3 or 4 sermons from the 1950s. But I just like digging around the Sermon Audio app, trying to see what I can find. But when I find something from the past, I do like pulling those up and promoting those, because it gives us insight to what Christianity was saying in 1950 or 1960 or 1970 or 1990. And a lot of times I think that's very interesting. And a lot of times it will show you that the concern that pastors had in the 1950s did not get fixed in the 50s or the 60s or the 70s. In many cases, those situations and those concerns only got worse. And it's just, I don't know. There's a lot to it from, I think, a historical perspective. Hearing the history, I think, gives us different perspective about the present. So I love doing that. So when I saw that it was from a series called Landmark Conference 1997, then I was like, okay, I'm definitely going to go look at this. So I opened up the series and I'm like, okay, what do they have here? Okay, let me pull this up here. Here's the Landmark Conference 1997. And you can follow the series. They've been uploading sermons since September 17th, 2025. And the last one they uploaded to this series is on October the 5th, 2025. Now, if you look at some of these, the first one is It's Not for Sale. The second one is Be a Barnabas. The third one, God Wants to Save All of You. The next one is My Testimony. Next, who are Hollywood movies for? Okay, well, that one, that could be an interesting review. And then Requirements for Joy in a City. All right, but none of those are the ones that Hollywood one, I thought, well, that could be an interesting one to hear. But the one that caught my attention was Old Testament Survey. Old Testament Survey. And I'm like, oh, all right, Old Testament Survey. Now, if for those who don't know, whenever I went to different schools, so like I'd go to this Bible college or this Bible Institute or this seminary, I never transferred credits. I would always just start over from the beginning because I wasn't really worried about getting the piece of paper, the degree, the diploma. I wanted to get the education. So that means I had to take Old Testament, New Testament survey. And every school I went to, every single school, Old Testament, New Testament survey, Old Testament, New Testament survey, Old Testament, New Testament survey, over and over and over and over and over and over again. And I don't think I ever had the attitude, well, I know all of this. Maybe there were some times I did, but for the most part, what I discovered really quickly is that no matter how many times I've taken Old Testament survey, no matter how many times I'd taken New Testament survey, I would always hear something unique or different or hear a different perspective or maybe I agree or disagree, but I would always learn something. And it made me realize, hey, don't miss out because you think you know. If you think you know, you come in with a closed mind going, I already know all of this. Don't have that attitude. Always have the attitude that I'm here to learn, and whatever I think I know, I don't know as much as I think I know, and I probably don't know anything, so let's just go through this like it's all brand new. And I think sometimes you have to do that, especially with reading and studying the Bible. The more you read it, the more you study it, it should not develop the attitude that you already know it. It should continue to humble you and how much you don't know, how much you don't really grasp, how much you don't really understand. And if you can maintain that humility, I think then it makes you will continue to grow and in many cases change things that you used to believe because you're being open to learning. So I when I saw Old Testament survey here, my attitude wasn't, oh, I've taken this a million times. I was like, oh, I'm going to make that the sermon. So I started playing Old Testament survey and I was like, oh, I think this is pretty good. I think this could benefit a lot of people. So here's what I'm going to do. I want you to look up, and I'm going to put it in the show notes, all right? Because that's what we're doing for all of these Sermon Audio Daily episodes. It will be a link in the show notes. But if you want to just look for it now on the Sermon Audio app, you can look up Ambassador Baptist College, look up their series Landmark Conference 1997, scroll down until you see Old Testament Survey by Dr. Mark Menick. Dr. Mark Menick, M-I-N-N-I-C-K. This sermon was preached on July the 15th, 1997. He takes you through the entire Old Testament in 1 hour. The Old Testament in 1 hour. Now, you could argue, well, that's not enough time. Whatever. The point is, you can listen to an entire Old Testament survey in 1 hour. Now, yes, typically you would go through an entire semester. I think you should do an entire year of Old Testament survey, an entire year of New Testament survey. Then you say, was that really a survey? I don't know. Maybe it's not really a survey, but I just think that the the more you can cover an overview, then the better prepared you are to take apart the parts. You got to see the whole before you can take apart the individual parts. So I'm all for it. But I really want you, when you decide to listen to this, if you can, have a Bible, have a notebook, and really just dig in. And whether you agree with everything or whether you disagree, it will get you, well, once again, looking at the overview of the Old Testament. And supposedly he did one on the New Testament as well. I don't know if they're going to upload that one. I would like to hear it and then hear his Old Testament, New Testament, put them together. And it's got to be beneficial. So go look it up. Ambassador Baptist College. I would follow them. I don't always agree with all the messages, but it's a Bible college. It's a Baptist Bible college. And so you can, and they broadcast, I think, every morning live on the Sermon Audio platform, their chapel service. So you could, follow that as well. But look up Ambassador Baptist College, find their series on the Landmark Conference 1997, scroll down, Old Testament survey, and hit play. Or you can just look at the show notes and listen to it for yourself. And that's all I'm going to give you this morning is just one message. I wanted to make this quick because some of these episodes, I really want them to be really, really fast. I want them to say, I just want to be able to turn on the microphone and go, hey, today for the Sermon Audio Daily, it's this sermon or it's these two sermons, and then be done. The goal here, remember the goal for this series is not for me to expound the sermons, to critique the sermons, to analyze the sermons. My job here is to say, okay, here's millions of sermons. I'm going to help you discover and give you things to listen to so you don't have to do anything. And I'm hoping to find things that will benefit you. The message I was going to recommend this morning, I have some strong feelings about, right? But the Sermon Audio Daily is not about whether I agree or disagree. And I'm going to recommend that one tomorrow, even though I've got some struggles with it. I got some difficulties with it. But for the Sermon Audio Daily, it's not about me saying I agree or disagree. It's about saying, hey, go listen to this and you struggle with it. And then if I want to review or critique one of the sermons, I can do that later. Yesterday we took that sermon I promoted, the history of fundamentalism, and we took one part of it and the discussion of the New Hampshire Confession. And I offered some strong criticism about the New Hampshire Confession of Faith. I really offered some strong criticism. But I did not do that on the Sermon Audio Daily. I did not, because the Sermon Audio Daily is all about discovery. It's all about me helping you find content. Because as I've said before, there's times listening to sermons on Sermon Audio, I have strong feelings about, that. But it's this huge library of millions of sermons. I just feel like we can't just say, whatever. We've got a million different things to choose from. I think we have to find a way to get the most out of it. So, and I try to do that with that's the way I am with music streaming services. I'm like, man, there's the entire history of music is right here. How do I get the most out of it? And streaming services are constantly trying to come up with discovery tools to help people get more out of it. And nobody's figured out the key. So I'm just trying to be a part of the solution. Sermon Audio's got a million things. Someone's got to try to help you find it. And so that's what I'm here to do. So go listen to Old Testament Survey from Ambassador Baptist College, a part of their series, Landmark Conference 1997. Dig in and remember, no matter how well you think you know the Old Testament, no matter how well you think you know the Bible, we will miss when we think we know, all right? Or the better way to say it, we miss so much because we think we know so much. Don't miss out because you think you know. Yeah, have the humility. Always approach the text as if you do not know. Anytime the Bible is open, I don't care if it's John 3:16, I don't care if it's Psalm 23, I don't care if it's 1 Corinthians 13, I don't care if it's Genesis 1. Always approach the text as if you do not know. Because if you do, then you can really begin to learn and grow. And no matter how much you learn and how much you grow, the next time, approach it as if you don't know. You can't pour anything into a cup that's already full. You can't, right? That cup has to be empty so you can pour something in. And a lot of times we're so full of ourselves, so full of what we perceive to be knowledge and so full of what we perceive to be our expertise. It's the Word of God. Approach it humbly. Listen to Old Testament survey, and we'll learn and get hopefully some greater understanding of the Old Testament, whether you agree or disagree. All right, there you go. That is today's episode of the Sermon Audio Daily. This went longer than it was supposed. This was supposed to be the 10-minute episode. But I have a hard time doing that. But go listen to them. Go listen to it and check the show notes. There'll be a link. Everyone have a wonderful day and, learn a little bit about the Old Testament. God bless.